The man people said could levitate and perform miracles insisted his greatest achievement was something far harder: rebuilding a collapsing religious order through humility, poverty, and obedience. Saints are often remembered for one miracle, but this friar rebuilt an entire Franciscan province. On the 5th of March, the church remembers Saint Giovan Giuseppe della Croce, known in English as John Joseph of the Cross. He was an Italian Franciscan priest, a reformer, a spiritual guide, and a man of severe penance. He was born Carlo Gaetano Calosirto on 15 August 1654, the feast of the Assumption. His birthplace was Ischia, a volcanic island in the Gulf of Naples, then within the Kingdom of Naples. His father was Giuseppe Calosirto, and his mother was Laura Garguilo, a family of some standing. From childhood, he showed a strong pull towards silence, prayer, and self-denial. He would slip away from noise to pray, and he loved the poor with practical generosity. Even when he had fine clothing available, he chose plain dress, like the poorest neighbors. He learned early that holiness is not a mood, but a daily discipline. He received his first religious formation among clergy on Ischia, including Augustinian influence. As a teenager, he grew fascinated by the stricter Franciscan reform spreading from Spain. That reform was linked to St. Peter of Alcantara, famous for rigorous poverty and penance. Around this time, Spanish Alcantarine Franciscans arrived in the Naples region seeking foundations. Their simple habit, begging, and prayerful bearing struck Carlo like a personal summons. At about 16, he left the island for Naples to test this vocation under obedience. He entered the Franciscan family within the Alcantarine reform, becoming the first Italian to do so. In religion, he took the name Giovanni Giuseppe della Croce, John Joseph of the Cross. He embraced the cross not as a symbol only, but as a pattern for life. He trained himself to desire less, complain less, and serve more, even when unnoticed. His superiors saw in him a rare mix of gentleness and iron interior resolve. He advanced quickly, not through ambition, but through an obvious reliability in hard things. Within a few years, he was trusted with tasks beyond his age and status. In January 1671, still very young, he was sent with other friars to Piedimonte di Alefe. The destination was the sanctuary of Santa Maria Occorevole in the Matese area. There, the reform needed a stable house, and the young friar helped build it by hand. He carried stones, worked timber, and learned that poverty does not excuse incompetence. This foundation work shaped him into a leader who understood both rule and reality. He also served periods at Naples, moving between formation work and local governance. He was repeatedly drawn between contemplation and action, and he tried to keep both honest. He desired solitude and prayer, yet obedience kept placing him where people needed him. In Piedimonte, he established a more secluded place for prayer known as the Solitudine. It was a small retreat in the woods, designed for recollection and austere life. Pilgrims still remember that impulse because saints build places as well as habits. He approached learning with a practical aim to confess, counsel, and preach with clarity. He did not chase academic prestige, but he formed a sound theological judgment for ministry. He was ordained a priest on 18th September 1677 at Santa Maria Maggiore in Piedimonte Matese. Even priesthood was something he accepted under obedience, not as a personal promotion. Soon he became master of novices, training young friars in discipline and prayer. As a teacher, he demanded strictness, but he lived stricter than what he demanded. He insisted that the superior should take the lowest tasks and be first in observance. That pattern protected the reform from becoming a mere ideology or uniform. His devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary was constant and deeply personal. He urged penitents to love Mary in a sober way through prayer and moral change. He also became known as a friend of the poor, both on Ischia and in Naples. When people came to the convent gate, he tried to ensure no one left empty-handed. Stories circulated that he would give away his own portion when resources ran thin. This was not theatrical charity, but a Franciscan instinct, repeated until it became legend. His austerities were real, and contemporaries described constant fasting and little sleep. He was said to sleep only a few hours and to avoid wine entirely. The point was not punishment for its own sake, but freedom from cravings that rule men. At the same time, he was remembered for gentleness in speech and patient listening. Those who expected a harsh ascetic met a calm confessor instead. He had a reputation for penetrating insight into consciences without humiliating the sinner. His spiritual counsel attracted ordinary workers, nobles, and even influential churchmen. Tradition holds that Saint Alphonsus Maria de Liguori sought his advice and respected him. That matters because Alphonsus was a major moral theologian, not an easy man to impress. John Joseph's authority did not come from office, but from credibility won in suffering. Suffering came not only from fasting, but from conflict within the reform itself. At the start of the 18th century, tensions erupted between Spanish Alcantarines and Italians. Administrative disputes threatened to fragment or even suppress the Alcantarine presence in Italy. Spanish friars held key houses, including Santa Lucia al Monte in Naples. The Italian friars feared losing their identity, their discipline, and their legal standing. John Joseph was pushed forward as spokesman and leader, despite his reluctance. In 1702, he was appointed vicar provincial for the Alcantarine reform in Italy. That appointment meant travel, hard decisions, and constant exposure to criticism. It also meant protecting strict observance without breaking the bruised reeds of weak men. He set clear expectations for prayer, poverty, and community order. Yet he tried to govern by example, not by threats. Sources describe him suffering calumnies, meaning false accusations and damaging rumors. He met these attacks with silence, prayer, and continued service. In a culture of honor, that restraint was itself a form of martyrdom. He fought for the reform's recognition through ecclesiastical channels, not through factional politics. Over time, papal decrees stabilized the situation and unified the branches again. A decisive act came on 22nd June 1722, when a pontifical decree reunited the two Alcantarine groups. With that reunion, Santa Lucia al Monte returned to the Italian friars. John Joseph, now aged and worn, returned there and continued as a spiritual guide. By then, his body carried the cost of decades of penance and travel. In old age, he suffered painful leg ulcers and needed a stick to walk. Even so, he continued to receive visitors, confess penitence, and encourage perseverance. His zeal for souls did not retreat when his strength retreated. Alongside reform and charity, many reported extraordinary mystical gifts around him. Accounts speak of prophecy, healings, and uncanny knowledge of distant events. Some stories include bilocation, being seen in two places during urgent moments. Others report levitation or ecstasy during prayer and at Mass. The Church is careful with such claims, but they formed part of his reputation for sanctity. John Joseph himself tried to hide signs of favor and to avoid public attention. When a cure happened, he sometimes urged simple medical remedies to keep humility intact. Whether miraculous or providential, people experienced his presence as a channel of hope. His deeper miracle was endurance, the daily choice to remain faithful under pressure. He taught that God's will is often found in boring obedience, not dramatic visions. He also modeled a Franciscan realism about power, refusing invitations that would flatter him. He disliked distinction and wanted religious life to remain a witness against luxury. Yet he also understood that institutions need structure, and he gave the reform that structure. He died in Naples on the 5th of March, 1734, at the convent of Santa Lucia al Monte. His death was not the end of his influence, but the start of public devotion. People visited his tomb, asked his intercession, and reported favors received. His cult grew especially in Naples and on Ischia, where he was regarded as a protector. The church tested this reputation through the long, formal process of causes. First came recognition of heroic virtue, and then examination of miracles attributed to him. Pope Pius VI beatified him on 24th of May, 1789. Beatification officially permitted public veneration in defined places and affirmed his exemplary life. Later, the Church recognized further evidence supporting universal veneration. Pope Gregory XVI canonized him on 26th of May, 1839 in St. Peter's Basilica. He was canonized alongside several other saints, including Alphonsus Liguori and Veronica Giuliani. That shared ceremony placed him among figures known for disciplined spirituality and reform. Over time, he became associated with patronage for Ischia and devotion in Naples. In the Diocese of Ischia, he is honored as a principal heavenly patron together with Saint Restituta. His story matters now because modern Christians also face distraction and institutional confusion. John Joseph shows that reform is not rebellion, but fidelity lived with courage and patience. He shows that austerity without charity becomes pride, and charity without discipline becomes sentiment. He shows that holiness can be quiet, practical, and stubbornly faithful in ordinary duties. On this 5th of March, his feast invites you to ask a simple question. Where is God asking for your obedience, your humility, and your concrete love for the poor today?